Throughout the duration of Camel Trophy's history, the full range of Land Rover vehicles have been challenged, from the Range Rovers and Series 3s of the early 1980s to the Defender 90s and 110s of 88 and 89. The 1990s saw the introduction of the Discovery TDI 3-door and later the 5-door model. Finally, in 1998, the new Freelander was used in Land Rover's final Camel Trophy year.
Camel Trophy was, it's what I think a lot of people of my age, our generation, it was what got them into off-roading. They would advertise in the countries, and the stats are kind of crazy that I think by the time they hit 4, 5, 6 years of doing this, they had 1 million applicants to participate as a driver. And so they each country, I think, they went from whatever, 8 countries to 27 countries or whatever the numbers were. But you got broken down. They got people from countries who wanted to participate, applied. They had trials in the country, and then that country picked the 2 best people to represent them. And then they would go and do this. And it was 2-people teams. That was the drivers. It was just people from those countries. And obviously, having experience in off-roading and repairs and stuff like that helped you, but I don't think it was a requirement. Most of the time, I think it was like 1,300 to 1,600 kilometers that they tried to cover. And then the terrain varied. Sulawesi, Australia, Siberia, Amazon a couple times, Brazil. Nobody got like heavy duty stuff. They just got Land Rover stuff. It was like parts off the shelf. They just built the trucks and painted them Sanglo, and that was it for the most part. Roof racks and just cargo management and radios and things, but nothing particularly special or that you would say, oh, that's why that truck could do that event versus a stock truck. The fact that it survives is its own unique thing. Most of the trucks were damaged in the events beyond repair and just were salvaged for the most part. There weren't very many that survived, and there weren't very many that continued on. And most of them were damaged to the point where if you wanted to make it roadworthy, you really had to basically rebuild a lot of it, reskin it, new panels and things like that. Mine damaged off-road with dents and things like that, but not to the point where it needed to be redone. So mine actually maintains all of its battle scars from day one. So from its trips through the Himalayas to its time in the Dutch trials. Now, I've got videos of mine in the Himalayas, and I can see dents being made that I can associate with my truck today. You can't go build one and have it be the same. It's not replaceable.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? I'm here with Chris, and you guys probably recognize Chris. He does the awesome On Call with Chris series on our channel, helping folks be prepared.
Hey everybody, as Michael said, you guys know me as Chris. I do the On Call with Chris, overlandbound.md on Instagram. I gotta keep those all straight. And the medical ambassador for Overland Bound, trying to make sure that first aid is available for everybody, everywhere, no matter what. Because everybody can do something. That's important. Don't be intimidated. Everybody can help. So I'm a trauma surgeon, a general surgeon. I do a bunch of educational stuff. I have a lot of titles, and they're all listed somewhere on the website, but they're there if you really want to know. That's it. That's who I am. And this is an actual Camel Trophy truck. It has a really neat history, and it was driven actually by Ian Chapman. The truck ended up staying around India for a while, doing some touring, and then it ended up in a museum in Holland. And then from there it went to
where it doesn't belong.
No, it doesn't belong.
It does not belong.
No, it does not belong
in a museum.
It does not belong. And actually, so I'll get into some of the battle scars. But after the museum, it went to an off-road driving school, and it was a part of 2 truck teams. They had Discos and they had Camel Trophies, or 110s. They were all Camel Trophy. And then I'm the 2nd private owner of this truck.
Wow.
So there are a couple other people have had it. when I was ready to buy a truck after training and move into Land Rovers, which I've loved and grew up with. My grandfather and my grandparents from England, and I grew up with Land Rovers. He was a mechanic, so he did well. But this one just popped up. One of the forums, somebody said, hey, look at this for sale. So I made a phone call and some negotiation tactics, and 2 weeks later it showed up at my house on a flatbed. I mean, growing up, loving Camel Trophy, wanting a Camel Trophy, knowing it was never going to happen and was okay with that, then having the opportunity to buy one for a very reasonable price was like, done. I did ask permission. I did ask my wife permission. I called her and I asked her permission before I made a phone call. Important.
What has been your mindset? It's not a restoration of a Camel Trophy, though it looks pretty much, you know, as it rolled off the trail.
Yeah.
But what's been your approach over the last few years?
So one of the things that is unique about this Camel Trophy versus a lot that you'll see out there is that nothing has been redone or restored. There have been modifications done, but it is all original. Every panel is original. The drivetrain is almost, the chassis is all original, and you can look under and see the dents and the twist. But really what I've done is try to modernize it a little bit, right? So it had a 2.5 turbo diesel, which I put a 200 TDI with a little more power, a little more oomph. I've upgraded the drivetrain to be a little bit stronger and more modern. But really, the concept for me was a truck that I could turn the key and go do this. Come out here for a weekend, for a week, you know, that overlanding, that I could take this. I've taken it through Death Valley, and it's now set up where, you know, I think you guys will see at some point in the video, it's 5 minutes and I'm set up and I'm ready to sit down and enjoy camp. So that was always the concept, the build, to take myself and my one kid, if not two, but at least one child, and go somewhere at a moment's notice.
Starting up front,
okay.
What should we know about on the front of your rig?
So Camel Trophies have a unique brush guard. This is the Camel Trophy brush guard. Mine actually got the metal grates added to it at some point. Oh, I forgot to add in the history. In '96, it was upgraded a little bit for the Dutch trials. So it did get some dash upgrades, the bumper upgrade, and then converted to the Husky winch, which was not on, it was a different winch when it went to the Himalayas. But up front, it's a pretty standard Camel Trophy truck. It's got the brush guard, you know, the spare on the hood. I keep the low pro one because it keeps the hood down in the wind in case the latch fails, to be honest. But you know, they've got the master links and the Dixon bait toe places. And I did go to a closed link system from Factor 55, as some people saw some of the original videos. You might see on the Instagram channel. I do have a lot of original video of this truck in the Himalayas, including some home videos that were not public. And somebody commented on their open hook, open winching systems. And I was like, no, I promise. I've upgraded. Shovel. I don't carry the spare pitch. What are those things called?
Pickaxe.
Pickaxe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got it at home. I have all the original stuff that came with it. The lights up front were upgraded in '96, not the original that went there, but the plaque is original. And that's its actual registration. It's a GWAC truck, they call it. So
tell me about the brush guards. A lot of folks are out there sort of making their own style, figuring out how to make these so that they're durable and they do their job.
Right.
Tell me about the hardware of this.
So when I first put on the brush cables, I just got the you know, rubber coated stainless steel and a couple of the little connector thingies here, and some heavy duty springs at Lowe's, and it was honestly like 20 bucks worth of stuff. And it did a really great job. I got a pipe clamp here, and honestly, $20 worth of stuff, and it worked really well. I've had the spring take a hit, stretch out, snap, but it protected the windshield and did its job. It's from sailing, and all it really does is take the tension off, and it allows me to disconnect the spring from the roof if I want to take it down to be able to work in the hood without having to fight this. But that's it. Great. Yeah, these are fairly expensive if you want to buy them new because it's sailing stuff.
All right, well, hey, let's move around and see what else you got.
Cool.
Okay.
All
right, let's take a look inside. I got to brag for a second, Chris. Okay. I got to drive this. Chris was like, hey, you want to borrow it for the weekend? And he let me drive it. It's awesome.
I wasn't able to make that year's off the grid rally event. Right. And then it took him 2 years to tell me that he almost rolled it.
And now I tell the story again and again. That's a different story, not in this video. But I didn't.
So Something you may notice if you're watching the video closely is that unique to my truck, I have both versions of the Camel Trophy sticker. I have the blue and the green because they kept one and then they replaced it with another one. And then unfortunately I'm running out of stickers for the rally that I lead every year, week-long trip to the Sierras. It's cockpit.
All right.
It's tiny. There's not a lot of space in there for most people. This has actually seat risers that raised it up and moved it back a little bit. And for me at 6'2", it's much better. But there is a internationally known Defender driving position. So that's window down, arm out, because my shoulder actually comes right here against the B pillar. So not a whole lot of space in there. There's nowhere really to go over. So they're definitely built for people that don't look like me.
Got it.
But it's actually it's not uncomfortable. Long distance drives aren't too bad. Really the noise gets you more than anything else. And so I got some headphones to help mitigate that and do
music and comms.
Music, intercom, ham radio, and Bluetooth to the phone.
Within the community, within the Overland Bound community, we're trying to get everybody to switch over to ham. So we're trying to put as much information out there as possible. Ham radio, what do you use and do you like it?
So I use a Yaesu 8800 and I love it. I have it in 2 rigs, and one, because programming was easy and I wanted to learn how another radio works.
Right.
It's a good dual channel, monitors too. You can pick which one you want to transmit on, and it does crossband repeat, which is really nice because you can use the truck as a base camp, and then I can go off with my little handheld and explore, but still have communication, like good communication, GPS, iPad navigation, and InReach for 2-way texting. Got Range Rover Classic steering wheel, because as I got moved up, the bigger military plastic one was in the way. So
the one that kind of came out the window a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's padded. I can tell you 9 hours of driving home from Death Valley, you don't even want to touch the steering wheel anymore. And I built a box to put underneath the center console, which gives me an armrest now and holds all my electronics, so the brain of everything in the fuse block and all those kind of things for all the accessories. The wiring is it's Lucas wiring, well known for not being good. So you have to be very aware of what you do. Some of the things I've done, I did have a short which caused a release of all the smoke. They had put it through the bulkhead without a grommet, so it caused a short. And
so how much? So I look at a vehicle of this age, and I'm looking and I can see some of your wiring looms. Rigs don't burn halfway, and wiring is super critical.
Right.
So how much have you done, and what's been your approach on that?
So I have redone it about 3 times. And I finally, when I got everything done and I was using the truck and I had nothing else light-wise or anything to add to it, I was like, now's a really good time to just do it once. So it's very tedious, very painful, but totally worth it. And I stripped it down and redid all of it. And, I try to hide wires as much as possible, but choosing good quality wire and making sure that the grade, the size of the wire is important. So I kind of oversized everything because it's a safety feature built in, right? Your wires won't get too hot. They can conduct what you need them to. And then you have to fuse everything. Make sure that every circuit is fused. Make sure you don't overload circuits. Make sure you have to add up. It's not hard to do. It's intimidating, but it's not hard to do. You just have to add up what's in each circuit and make sure you're not overwhelming the wire size and the fuse size. And then, to be honest, you have to have a master kill. Obviously, we talk about fire extinguishers. Everyone needs to have one in a really convenient, easy to get to place. But the lesson is not for the truck. It's for the people in the truck. Get yourself out. Get your loved ones out. Use it to get to them, to get them out. You can try to put a car fire out, but it's pretty futile with a fire extinguisher.
And that's why electrical wiring is so critical, is because you just don't even want it to start.
And that's why the kill switch is super important, because once it starts, if you cut power to it, for the most part, you'll stop it. If it hasn't actually caught on fire and engulfed something, the actual smoking part, once you stop power to that, that's it. You're pretty much done. So I do have an internal roll cage. So little history thing with Camel Trophy. When they first did Camel Trophy, they wanted the trucks to look as stock as possible so people would see these in the jungles in the middle of nowhere and then go buy them. Well, they're not particularly safe. So from here down is the crumple zone. Unfortunately, from here down is where you live. So when they rolled, they crumpled. And so they had to do something to protect the participants and still make it look stock. So they designed this half in, half out. So I've got behind the snorkel, roll cage that comes exterior to protect the drivers and whatnot because there's no room in here. But then it comes through the cab and is internal all the way back.
Yep.
So yeah, that was to keep it stock and appearing, and but still add the protection. And then I have the most important button though is this red square. My son put that on there when he was 4 as the emergency button. It's just double-sided tape, and that's moved from each new version of it just 'cause. But it makes me smile, and he's very happy that it's still there. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue the tour.
All right. So.
All right.
So this right here, I have to admit, like, this is one of my favorite parts of the whole truck. So I ran into Keat, who's an Overland Bound member, metal worker, who we were just chit-chatting. I have the Mantech window guards, but I always wanted a table, just something easy to set up.
Right.
So he fabricated for me a table that is hooked into our window guard.
That is awesome.
And now for those of you that are looking at the camera, we're on a downhill slope, so that's why the table's at my height level.
Right.
And it so some people may question the design, like why we, because that's weird. So this was actually well calculated so that you could use the bottle opener with it closed and open.
There you go.
Yeah. And then of course, it's underneath the awning. And so this is a flood, which allows just for stuff at the side, and you can work here. And the other thing I did is I put a strip of LED lights on the awning, and they're color changing, so a little mood light at night. But they provide tons of light, and you can work under it, and you're protected. So
yeah. Hey, tell us about AluCab. Tell us about this awning.
I was able to work out with actually some other Overland Bound members, and we got a group buy as the first 5 into the United States.
Oh, cool.
And so we got a good deal for those, and I love it. It sets up in less than a minute from bag to shelter. It's held up to wind, storm, rain, snow, yeah, and a huge amount of shade.
Okay, hey, let's take a look here.
Right. So
let's take a look.
All right, so
the business end.
The business end.
Look
the
at all
back
this.
end.
Cool.
So there's a lot going on, as you can tell, but this is the functional live out the back end. I try to keep the rear seats completely open, just for the kids. So over time, I've learned to just what I use and what I don't use, and what can be away and what should be easy to get to. So I will say, and you guys have seen, trauma bag lives right here. It's in the back. It's easy to spot. I can tell anybody, go get the orange bag out of my truck. Other than having to figure out that these are the 2 clips, they're good to go. And this just holds a bunch of exam gloves. So it's always for picking up trash, which is what I use it for most of the time. Or if you're cooking and you want to make meat or something like that, you can keep your hands clean without having to use a lot of water and soap. I've got built-in compressor. I use the Extreme Air Magnum. I won it in a raffle, but it's the one I would go with. And it's hardwired. I've got a switch back here. You just kind of clip it on and it goes on and off. And an air tank, and then air ports on each side. So the hose just connects on each side, and I can air up both tires and go from there. This was my foray into metalwork. So
very nice.
This was my original table, and actually it's really good for making like sandwiches or stuff on the trail, or just doing stuff in a little parts tray there. Mag light, I've had this thing 24 years.
I don't think they make flashlights that big anymore.
No. Upgraded it to the LED bulb, which just changed it to white from yellow. Let's see what else. I keep fluids, easy to get to fluids back here. It's a Land Rover, it leaks. Oil leak from the can, not the truck. It's not that bad.
Yeah, what are you leaking out of the bumper?
I know. So over time, what I'd like to do with my kit is I like to keep my chairs here so they're easy to get to, right? When you get to camp, having the chairs strapped down, it's something I use every camp. So it didn't do me any good to have them strapped down somewhere. So when I created this shelf, this drawer system here, this just pulls out. This is just tools and spares. This is chairs and, sharp things, hatchets and stuff. And it all just slides in. It's easy to come out. I can carry 2 chairs there easily. And then...
Great. Can we pull this out?
Yeah, yes. This is just, there's no slides. It's just a wood box, basically. The weight of the shelf and the gear keep it from lifting up and coming out.
Cool. You
So-
you made this?
I made it.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
This just carries tools and things that I don't use very often. Siphon for the jerry cans, Gorilla Tape.
Potions.
I have potions, hoses. That's your WD-40, your
Got it.
Hylamar, your silicone, your whatever.
Cool.
Little socket set. What else we got in here?
Bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs. Very British, you know. I gotta stay British, right?
Electrickery.
Electrickery, yes. You gotta have a little electrical kit in there. That's just extra connectors.
Cool.
Things that make a difference in the truck and how it runs. Hammer. Never underestimate the
Motivator.
importance of an actual hammer. This isn't the hugest hammer, but I have a mallet somewhere, so you know that just has to get the job kind of done.
Cool.
Tool roll with pretty much go-to tools. I've got under the passenger seat box like the full big socket set and big type of stuff. This is just mostly trail stuff. What else do we have? Extra thermostat because I've had problems with that before.
Spare Land Rover.
Spare Land Rover. Belts, gaskets, rope, tie rod ends, water pump. Oh, I got a spare water pump.
Cool.
I do. And a spare head gasket because you never know. So yeah, that's it. And that's just
Mechanically, we were talking earlier. Mechanically, you said you try and bring everything that's going to stop your trip.
yeah.
Try.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, obviously, you never know, right?
Right. All right.
So just friction, just goes in.
Cool.
Yeah. See what else we got. So back here, cargo netting, you know, lighter weight stuff, privacy tent. I actually have a portable solar panel, but I'm probably going to get rid of that because I've got the hard mount one on the rooftop tent now. And this is, other than one more wolf pack for dry food, this is a rollout for a week right here. Recovery gear is just sitting up there, but typically it sits in an easier place to get to. And this is it: clothes, scuttle, potty, miscellaneous camping gear.
What's that one?
So this is just kind of a day hike admin bag. Easy place to carry the two most common wrench sizes or bolt sizes that are on my truck.
Can't you take apart a entire Defender 110 with those two wrenches?
No, you need a 17.
So
That's
you
a
need
13.
Three. So you need three.
That's a 13, a 10, and an 11. So yeah, sorry, so three sizes. So you need a 17. The concept of the truck is to be able to get out of town in 20-30 minutes and leave the clothes bag packed. And literally this outfit just sits on top, and this is what I wear for the week. I don't even know why I bring a bag, but
you never know.
you know.
All right.
Cool.
Take a look at the other side.
Yeah, let's
All right,
go over
let's
here.
go. All right, let's take a look.
All right.
Second spare. You got two spares.
I do have two spares.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
they kind of came with two spares. That one is a full size, and you saw the smaller one up front just in case.
Yep.
I do run the BFG KM3 mud terrains and love them.
Yeah.
So, all right. This side of the truck. There's not a whole lot goes on this side. Not a busy side, but an important side because this is one of the front runner gull wings. And what this does is allows me to have my fridge here.
Right.
So
this is of key importance.
So I can get to the fridge very easily though, right? I don't have to move anything out of the way. Everything I want is right there. It's actually fairly easy to get this up and out and get to the lower shelf. And you can go from there. And just kind of
That is so convenient. That is awesome. You've got lights.
And I've got, these are actually red because I don't need a bright light over on this side, but it allows me to have this. And then, like I said, easy access to things to kind of get meals ready. This is one of those little 12-volt spaghetti things.
Awesome.
So that's nice, and some soap just zip tied in there, and yeah, towel.
Now, tent. What did you do for a tent?
So Alucab, the Gen 3 rooftop tent, aluminum hard shell. I wanted one of those for a couple reasons. One, the setup time is unbelievably fast. We're talking like a minute. 2 latches, you lift it up. If you want to put the eave out, since I don't come and go that way, I don't always put those poles out. And then the hard top, because I actually want to mount the 100 watt solar panel to the roof. And then I've got the more bridging ladders, but traction mat from Crux. This makes life easier. This is an older turbo truck, and so you really should cool the turbos down before you shut them down. You get caking in the inside and stuff like that. So it really is, by the time the truck is idled down, the tent is up, the awning is up, a chair is out, and I'm done. And then I turn the truck off, and it's less than 5 minutes.
I just have to say again that this is how awesome this rig is. Camel Trophy was definitely an inspiration, so it is a lot of fun being able to spend some time with your rig. I got a couple critical questions for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so first one, how much do you weigh? Your expedition weight?
Oh, I was about to say me personally. I mean, come on, man, it's been a rough month. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's a small 4-cylinder, like 118 horsepower engine new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so with some tweaks and whatnot, I can cruise at 70, and I can pull most hills in the 45 mile an hour, 50 mile an hour range.
That's respectable. Yeah.
But you know, it's never really about there. It's when you're on trail.
Yeah.
You put it in gear,
Yeah.
and you smile the whole way.
Yep.
It's just like, yeah, this is what it's built for.
Right.
It doesn't care. It's a diesel. I'll do the week-long trip.
Yep.
On a tank.
What's your range on a tank?
Oh, 400-ish miles.
And so what else should we know about the rig? Any other, like, either history, tech specs, anything, you know?
The truck itself, you have to just love it, right? It's not a convenient truck.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a you can just turn it and go kind of truck. You have to be very aware of what every sound means and learn the difference between bad sounds and good sounds. It's a lot of driver input. It's a fully manual operation. There's no computer. It has a center diff lock, and I added last summer a true track and 24 spline front axle from a 10 spline after I snapped a half shaft. But that's it. So you know, the secret of the Camel Trophy. One of the OB members asked me why these trucks are so good, and to be honest, it came down to two things. They had tons of spares, and they're easy to work on. So you can go beat them up and fix them. I've blown diffs and half shafts and all kinds of things, and still gotten home. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of folks that watch this video are, like me, probably a bit enamored by the history and the Camel Trophy rigs, and naturally appreciate that fact. They are manual. Everything is so manual. You know, it's a part of the rig. Hey, if you guys have any further questions, something that we didn't cover, Chris will talk to you over on the Overland Bound forums, and he is El Solis on the Overland Bound forums. But just ask I'll have the information for contacting Chris. So if you have any questions, talk.
Ask away.
Also, I'm gonna plug again the series you've already done with us. If you guys want to know more about your medical supplies, trauma kit versus a base camp first aid kit, and a lot of other things, different wound care, go and look at the boot camp series where Chris breaks that all down for you.
And you can ask me personal questions by direct message, or if it's a generalized question and you want it as an on-call with Chris, just let me know. Now that June is over and I've recovered, I'll go back to normal. I'll be able to shoot some more.
Cool. Chris, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
really
man.
appreciate
of course.
it.
Of course. Thank you.
It takes a bit of suffering, sleepless nights and wandering before you make it safely to the end.